So if you come here, it's going to show you USCIS home, and so that's what we're looking for. Awesome. And we are doing N400 application, and so we're going to put our N400 application here, which is our citizenship application form. Over here, we're going to click the first one that comes up. It says file online. I'm not an immigration lawyer. Huge disclaimer. I am not. I did this process on my own, and I figured I will go ahead and share with everyone. So just with that in mind, I will recommend that you file online. The good thing with filing online is honestly because anytime USCIS has a letter that is going to send to you, you're always going to get a notification in your email letting you know that this letter of receipt is being mailed to you, and you always get a copy in your email as well, in your online folder. And then if you get your letter for biometrics, you also have a copy, and then if you get your letter for your appointment, you're also going to have a copy as well. And so this is really phenomenal if you file online. Awesome. Now, this is a tool to check your eligibility to make sure if you do qualify to apply for the citizenship. It's very important because it's a very expensive process, and so you want to make sure that you actually qualify. But I will pull up the form, and then we are going to go through and fill it out. Once you create your account, you're going to be able to have access to the form to fill out online. So here we go. Here, your 9-digit number is going to be on your USCIS, your green card. You're going to have your number on. So whatever the number is, you're going to put it right here. And then it has a couple of questions for you to answer. Have you been a lawful permanent resident of the United States for at least 3 years? In addition, have you been married to and living with the same U.S. citizen spouse for the last 3 years, and your spouse has been a U.S. citizen for the last 3 years at the time you filed for your N400? So that's what we are going for. We are going for based on marriage. The rest of the questions follow, and you can choose as you please. All right. Here is going to ask you your first and last name. I think this is self-explanatory, but so typically I just fill everything out in caps, and then whatever your given name is, and then your middle name if you have some. So you just really filling out the information that you literally filled out during your application for the I-30 when you got your green card. Okay. So your name exactly as it appears on your permanent card. So here, do not provide a nickname. Your current legal name, you place that. Your name exactly as it appears on your permanent resident card, you put that here. If it's the same, you put the same. What you don't want to do is leave a page unfilled. So part 2 here. In one of my videos, somebody was asking why is it that I only filled the alien number just one time? Because in the application process, it makes you fill it out one time, and then by the time you're done, it does populate it for you. So if you check here, it will not, if I click on it, it will not let me add anything, but if I click in this box, it will let me add something. So just a food for thought on that one. All right, other names you have used since birth. So especially, and it includes nickname, aliases, and maiden name if applicable. So for women, obviously you're going to have your parents, your maiden name before your marriage name. So you want to include that. And if you were married before and you got divorced and you had a name, of course, you had a name prior, you want to include that here as well. Name change is optional. So if you want to change your name, it says read the N400 instructions before you decide whether or not you would like to legally change your name. Would you like to legally change your name? And so for the purpose of this video, we are going to say no. We are not doing anything crazy here. Here, once you got your 2-year green card, you're going to have your social security. So whatever your social security number is, you put it here. And then USCIS online account. So for this particular one, I didn't put anything over there because I didn't have a USCIS online account number. When you create the account, and you think you can find an account number there. I didn't find anything, and so I left it NA, if it makes sense. Remember, you're typically not leaving anything blank here. So I put NA here, your gender, female, your date of birth, and then date you became a lawful permanent resident. So on your permanent resident card, you're going to have a date there. So whatever the date is, you're going to include that in here. Beautiful. Your country of birth. So for me, it's going to be Ghana. And then country of citizenship or nationality. So again, it's going to be Ghana for me. And then, do you have a physical or developmental disability or mental impairment that prevents you from demonstrating your knowledge and understanding of the English language and or civics requirements for this naturalization? For the purpose of this video, we are going to say no. If you answered yes, then you have to complete an N600 648 form, medical certification for disability exceptions, when you file your form N900. Again, we are not complicating anything. We said we are good. Exemptions from the English language test. So there are several reasons why USCIS is going to exempt you from interviewing in English, and these are the ones from doing your test in English. So these are some of the reasons why they would exempt you. Are you 50 years of age or older, and have you lived in the United States as a lawful permanent resident for periods totaling at least 20 years at the time you file in 400? So it's going to be no for us. Are you 55 years of age or older and have lived in the United States as a lawful permanent resident for periods totaling 15 years at the time you file for N400? No. Are you 65 years of age or older and have lived in the United States as a lawful permanent resident for periods totaling at least 20 years at the time you file your N400? If you meet this requirement, you will also be given specified version of the civic test. So it's going to be a no for us. Part 3. Accommodations for individuals with disability and or impairment. Note, read this information in the Form N400 instructions before completing this part. Are you requesting an accommodation because of your disability and or impairment? So no, we've established that. If you answered yes, select any applicable boxes. So whatever box here applies to you based on the fact that you are requiring accommodation, you can select that. Then part 3, accommodation for individuals with disability and or impairment. And so it says, I have another type of disability. So this is really the continuation of what we saw up here. So these 3 forms of accommodation right here, for if you require any disability accommodation, is just continued on this page. Part 4, information to contact you. So this is going to be your daytime phone number, your work phone number, your evening phone number, and me in particular, I put my same cell phone number in all of the boxes, and so it's the same number USCIS can reach me morning, afternoon, evening, and nighttime. So here, your email address, you're going to put your email address here, and then we move on to part 5, information about your residence. The first question is, where have you lived during the last 5 years? Provide your most recent residence and then list every location where you have lived during the last 5 years. If you need extra space, use additional sheets of paper. So now, all you're going to do is fill in your physical address. So you start from the one that where you're currently living, and then you're going to go down the list. Some people have moved a lot, so you make sure that you have every address right here, and it's your A, B, C. So it gives you up to E. If you move 5 different times, you can put all of that here. And again, you can add additional paper if you've moved more than 5 times, especially for people who are in the military and people who have jobs that make them move a lot. You want to include that as well. Information about your parent. If neither one of your parents is a United States citizen, then skip this part to part 7. So if you don't have any parents here that are US citizens, you're going to skip. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to skip. Remember, we are getting our citizenship through marriage. Okay, biographic information. Note, USCIS requires you to complete the categories below to conduct background checks. See the Form N400 instructions for more information. So here, your ethnicity. So if you're not Latino, for the purpose of this video, we're going to say not Latino, your race, and then I'm going to choose black. So you choose your race, your height. This is the drop down, and so it will let you choose how tall you are. If you're 7 foot, go ahead and tell everyone about that. And then your weight here. If you don't know your weight, you can get a scale, stand on it, get your weight. Too easy. Okay. On to the next, your eye color. So if you have blue eyes, you say that your hair color. If you're bald, it's okay. It's okay. You can also put right here bald, whatever your hair color is. And then on to part 8. It says information about your employment and schools you have attended. List where you have worked or attended school full-time or part-time during the past 5 years. Provide information for the complete time period. Include all military, police, and/or intelligence service. Begin by providing information about your most recent or current employment, studies, or unemployment if applicable. Provide the location and dates where you worked, were self-employed, were unemployed, or have studied for the last 5 years. If you worked for yourself, type or print self-employed. If you were unemployed, type or print unemployed. If you need extra space, use additional sheets of paper. So I have gotten a lot of questions with a lot of people asking, what if I was unemployed? What if I was unemployed? Well, too easy. USCIS says just go ahead and say that you were unemployed right here. So wherever, if you were in school, whatever you were doing for the past 5 years in terms of employment and in terms of school, go ahead and indicate that here. And if you've had more than 3 jobs as USCIS offered here for the space to do it, then you can add additional paper to explain what jobs were and how long you worked over there. Okay, so basically you're just following the same that format that they've given us right here. That's the same format you're following. Okay, part 9. So it says time outside the United States. How many total days, 24 hours or longer, did you spend outside the United States during the past 5 years? So you're going to indicate the days here. How many trips of 24 hours or longer have you taken outside the United States during the past 5 years? You're going to state that here. List below all the trips of 24 hours or longer that you have taken outside the United States during the past 5 years. Start with your most recent trip and work backwards. If you need extra space, use additional sheets of paper. So the same concept goes here. When did you leave the country? Any place that you've been for more than 24 hours. You want to indicate that here. Did the trip last for 6? So it starts from here. Date you left the United States. You put that here. Date you returned to the United States. You put that here. Did this trip last 6 months or more? Yay or nay. You select yes or no. Countries to which you traveled. You put that here. Your total days outside the United States, you put that here. So again, too easy. Just basically asking where you've been, and then you indicate that. Part 10. information about your marital history. So this is going to ask you questions about if you've been married before, all of that good stuff. What is your current marital status? So if you're still married to your current spouse, you're gonna select that. If you are single or have never married, go to part 11. So we are married, so we are still sticking to here. All right. If you are married, is your spouse a current member of the U.S. Armed Forces? So if your spouse is not in the military, you hit no. If they are, you hit yes. How many times have you been married, including annulled marriages, marriages to other people, and marriages to the same person? So here, if you're still married to the same person, you've only married one time, you put one, which is the current spouse you're with. If you've been married two times, you put two. So your previous spouse and your current spouse. So you're counting all of them together. The old one, the new one, too easy. So you put the number here, and then it says, if you were married, so if it's just one, you're going to put one. If you are married now, provide the information about your current spouse. So you're going to put your spouse's last name, his first name, and middle name if applicable. Then the B portion of this is current spouse previous legal name. And so if your spouse had previously had a different name, you can put that here. If they still have the same name, you can just go ahead and put NA right here because it's the same thing that you're talking about and it's not applicable to your particular spouse. Other names used by your current spouse, including aliases, nicknames, maiden names. So if your spouse had a maiden name or anything like that, you again, it's the same concept here. So you put it here. Current spouse date of birth. So you put your spouse's date of birth here. Let's just give 1988. Let's do that. Date you entered into marriage with your current spouse. And so the date that you and your spouse got married, you want to put that here. So again, I'm going to put something here as well. Part 10, information about your marriage is continued. And so the same, we're still on your current spouse. So current spouse present home address. So typically if you live together, it's going to be the same address that you guys are at. So 1010 Apple Street. And of course, you put in all your address information. So here it says province or region for foreign address only. So if it's typically for people who are in the military, they might have different addresses because they're moving a lot. But if that's the case, you want to put in the region, the postal code, and then the country if you are overseas. All right, the G part. Current spouse's current employer or company. So you want to indicate here the job your spouse is doing. Is your current spouse a U.S. citizen? So for the purpose of this video, yes, hence the reason we are doing the applying in the marriage. If you answered yes, answer number 6. If you answered no, go to number 7. So it says if we answered yes, which we did. Number 6. If your current spouse is a U.S. citizen, complete the following. A. When did your current spouse become a U.S. citizen? So if they were born here and they were American citizen from birth, you put that here. If there is another way that they acquired citizenships, then you put that here as well. So they were born here, go to item A. Item number 8 here. So I will just stop here at 6 real quick. So let's just say that they had citizenship in a different form, however it was. So you're going to click here and then you come to the B part and you say date your current spouse became a U.S. citizen. Then you can put that here. Okay, so question 7. If your current spouse is not a U.S. citizen, complete the following as well. So however your current spouse got the citizenship, you're going to put the country where they're from there and then their alien number. Again, this is for if you had selected other. But since we selected at birth, we are going to move to 8. Then 8. How many times has your current spouse been married, including annulled marriages, marriages to other people, and marriages to the same person? If your current spouse has been married before, provide the information about your current spouse's prior spouse. Okay, so if they've been married 6 times, 7 times, 2 times, again, we are including your marriage as well. So if they've been married 5 times prior to you, you're the sixth wife or the sixth spouse, you put 6 here because you're going to provide all of the other information as well. Okay, so for argument, we're going to say, for the purpose of this video, we're going to say 1. If your current spouse has had more than one previous marriage, provide the information. If additional sheets are needed, you do that. My current spouse, prior spouse. So you add all of the prior spouse here if there is. If there isn't, you can just put your not applicable NA. So because there isn't. Immigration status for my current spouse prior to, so all of that crazy stuff. Country of residence. If you're married, again, we are doing this one with the intention that they've not been married before. Okay, so question 9. If you were married, so I will kind of go back a little bit just in case somebody has a spouse that is married. So they've been married plus you is 2. So you want to put their name, their middle name, immigration status of your current spouse, prior wife, if known. So if they were already born here in the US, you select that. Date of birth. So your spouse should know the date of birth of their previous spouse. So you can put that here. Country of birth of my current spouse, prior spouse. So you put all of that here. So all this information, your spouse should be able to help you with that. And then current citizenship of my current spouse. Spouse. Okay. So part 10 is continued here. It's the same information. The date of the prior marriage and then date that the marriage ended. So you should have all of that. And again, if you excuse me, this is all information you're going to be privy to prior to applying for your green card already. So important to keep all those documentations, because I've had people ask me, what if I don't remember all these things? Well, the interesting part is this is the same information you provided for your 2-year green card when you apply for it, and then you have to repeat the same information for your 10-year green card. So I will encourage you to look for the copies of those that information, and then you should know. And then again, you're with your spouse, so they should be able to help you with that information as well. All right. And then it's going to ask you how my current spouse marriage ended with prior spouse. So was it annulled? Was it their divorce? Was the spouse deceased? However the separation happened, you have to explain it here if it doesn't fall in these 3 buckets. Okay. If you were married before, provide the information about your prior spouse. About your prior spouse. If you have more than one previous marriage, provide that information on additional sheet of paper. So this is about you, the applicant, the person applying. If you were married before, provide the information about your prior spouse. If you have more than one previous marriage, provide that information on additional sheets of paper. So this is about you. If you were married prior, you put all that information here. If you weren't, again, you put your NA. This is not applicable to you. You keep pushing. But if you have, you provide all that information. What was their lawful residence? My prior spouse date of birth, your prior spouse country of birth, your prior spouse country of citizenship, the date of the marriage, the date you guys got married, and then the date the marriage ended, and then how marriage ended with your prior spouse. So was it annulled, divorced, spouse deceased, or other? So you provide that information as well. And all this information, I would encourage you as well to add all these documentation to your application. Part 11. Information about your children. Indicate your total number of children. You must indicate all children, including children who are alive, missing, or deceased, children born in the United States or in other countries, children under 18 years of age or older, children who are currently married or unmarried, children living with you or elsewhere, current stepchildren, legally adopted children, and children born when you were not married. So, if you have children, however the number is 5, 20, 15, whatever the number is, you put that here and we are going to account for all of the children. Provide the information. So number 2, provide the information about all your children, sons and daughters listed in item number 1, which is here. Item number 1 is this, where we said we had 15 children. So all of them, regardless of their age. To list any additional children, use additional sheet of paper. So we're going to list our children here. Their first name, their given name, their last name, their first name, their middle name, and if they are not American citizens and they have an alien number, we want to indicate that number here as well, the date of birth, and then the country of birth. So we indicate that here, and this is going to be part 11 continuation. And so the same information we have put out there, we're going to continue here. So where do they live now? If they live with you, you give them the address of, I think we had done 1010 Apple Street. Yep. So we're going to give them, they live with us on 1010 Apple Street, the city, the country, the state, the zip code. And then if they're not here in America, you still give the address and then you state the foreign part of it. What is your child's relationship to you? For example, biological child, stepchild, legally adopted, and so you want to indicate that here as well. If they're biologically your children or their stepchildren or you legally adopted them, you also want to indicate that, add those documentation as well. So here the same information for child number 2, same information for child number 3, child number 4. Awesome. And if there is more, you add additional sheet of paper following the same format. Okay, part 12. Additional information about you, the person applying for the naturalization. Items number 1 to 21. If you answer yes to any of these questions, include a typed or printed explanation on additional sheets of paper. So it's very self-explanatory. If you're going to say yes to any of the following questions that we're going to ask, you have to have a printed explanation of why you said yes. Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen in writing or any other way? No. Have you ever registered to vote in a federal, state, or local election in the United States? No. Have you ever voted in any federal, state, or local elections in the United States? No. Do you now have, or did you ever have, a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country? No. Okay. If you answered yes, are you willing to give up any inherited titles or orders of nobility that you have in a foreign country at your naturalization ceremony? So we didn't answer no, so we're gonna we didn't answer yes, so we're gonna keep pushing. Okay. Have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined in a mental institution? No. Do you owe any overdue federal, state, or local taxes? So this question, if you're still currently owing on your federal taxes or your state taxes, but you're paying on it, you show that you've set up payment plans, you're going to hit yes, but then you're going to add all of that documentation to say that this is where I'm at. I already have a payment plan set. So we're not going to complicate this. We're going to say no, we didn't do that. Remember, you see, when you check it, it picks it twice. So make sure that if you check this by mistake, you come back to uncheck it. Okay, 7A. Have you ever not filed a federal tax or local tax since you became a lawful permanent resident? So if you have yes, then you explain why you did that and add all the paperwork. And B says, if you answered yes, did you consider yourself as a non-US resident? So however the situation is for the purpose of this video, we are saying no, we're good citizens, which you should be. Have you, and again, not doing this, I having owing federal tax doesn't mean you're not a good citizen. You're not a good citizen if you're not paying it. But if you have payment plans set up and you're paying it, then you're a good citizen. Make sense? Awesome sauce. Okay, on to the next. Question 8. Have you called yourself a non-US resident or federal on a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? We're going to say no, we've not done that. And if you've done that, again, you explain. Have you ever been a member of, involved in, or in any way associated with any organization, association, fund, foundation, party, club, society, or similar group in the United States or in any other location in the world? So again, we are saying no to that. If you answered yes, provide the information below. If you need extra space, attach the names of other groups as additional sheets of paper and provide any evidence to support your answer. So here, the name of the group, the purpose of the group, the dates for which you were member of the group. Question 10. Have you ever been a member or in any way associated either directly or indirectly with A, the Communist Party? No. Any other totalitarian party? No. A terrorist organization? No. Have you ever advocated either directly or indirectly the overthrow of a government or by force or violence? So no. If you have, attach your document and proof of that. Have you ever persecuted either directly or indirectly any person because of their race, religion, national origin, membership in a particular social group or political group? No. Between March 23rd, 1933 and May 8, 1945, did you work for or associate in any way, either directly or indirectly with the Nazi government of Germany, any government in any area occupied by, allied with, or established with the help of Nazi government of Germany, any German Nazi or SS military unit, parliamentary unit, self-defense unit, so the list goes on. If you haven't, then you hit no. And part 12, additional information about you, the person applying still continues. So we are still on, were you ever involved in any way with any of the following? Genocide, torture. So you want to read through killing or trying to kill someone, badly hurting some or forcing someone to have any kind of sexual contact or relationship, not letting someone practice his or her religion. Were you ever a member or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in any of the following? Military unit, parliamentary unit, police unit. So again, if you've done all of these, then you do that. For the purpose of this video, I have not. So, rebel group. Okay. So, it's a lot of reading, and my apologies. I've been talking for the past 40 minutes. So, sincere apologies for that. But again, you want to read through everything. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you ever otherwise serve in the following? So prison or jail. If you didn't, you're going to select no. All right. Were you ever a part of a group, or did you ever help any group or unit, organization that used a weapon against a person or threatened to do so? So if you did not do all of this, so please take your time and read through all of the questions here. I feel like I would do a different video just tackling these questions so we can read through it, because obviously it is very, very, very long. So take your time. This is your citizenship. Please make sure it's important to you and you're answering in a very, very honest way. Have you ever been to jail or prison? So if you have, please add all the documentation that is needed. If you answer yes, you put the years, the month, how long you stayed. All right. 29. If you answered no to all questions in item number 23 to 28, then skip this item and go to item 30. If you answered yes, so if you answered yes to any of 23 to 28, these are the places for you to go ahead. Since we did not, we are going to move on to 30. And 30 says, have you ever been a habitual drunkard, been with prostitutes? So go through all of this and make sure that helped anyone enter or try to enter United States illegally, failed to support your dependents or pay alimony. So make sure that if you're in child support, you're paying all your bills and you have everything to support that you are being a bona fide citizen and you're doing what you're required to do. So have you ever been removed or deported from the United States? So it's a have you ever been removed, excluded, or deported from the United States? So please take your time again to read these. All these are very, very important to USCIS. Every single question that you answer, you want to make sure you are answering very, very truthfully. 44. Are you a male who lived in the United States at the time between your 18th and 26th birthday? This does not include living in the United States as a lawful resident. So for the purpose of this video, you're going to say no. If you answered yes, when did you register for selective service? So if you're male, then that who lived between the 18th and 26th birthday, you have to answer this part of the question and see. If you answered yes, did you not register for selective service? So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to skip that. All right. Answer item number 45 to 50. If you answer no to any of these questions, include a typed or printed explanation of additional sheets of paper and provide any evidence to support that. Do you support the Constitution in the form of government? So this is the part that I want you to be very, very careful, because you are in emotion of answering a lot of no's. That's why I keep saying you have to read the questions, because this is the portion that actually needs to understand if you actually do support the Constitution and the form of government in the government of America. You want to be a citizen, and so you want to know if you support all of these. And USCIS will actually ask you this again during your interview. Do you understand the full oath of allegiance of the United States? Are you willing to take the full oath of allegiance in the United States? Because you will take the oath of allegiance at your oath ceremony should you choose to proceed, or should USCIS pass you through the process. If the law requires you, are you willing to bear arms on behalf of the United States? It's yes for me. So answer what is suitable for you. If the law requires, are you willing to perform non-combatant activity services in the U.S. Armed Forces? Yes. If the law requires, are you willing to perform work of national importance and under civilian direction? Okay, national importance under civilian direction? Yes. So part 13, applicant statement, certification, and signature. It says, read the penalty section for Form N400 instructions before completing this part. Applicant statement. Select the box for either item A or B. Item 1, if applicable. Select the box for item 2. So 1 says, applicant statement regarding the interpreter. A. I can read and understand English. I have read and understand every question and instruction on this application and my answer to every question. So now you're saying you have done everything, and as part of, if you don't fall within the initial category that we talked about of those who are allowed to have interpreters, and this, if you remember the first section, then you're going to be in this category that you do understand. If not, the interpreter named the part 14. So we're not going to complicate things. We're going to stick right here. Yes, we speak English. We understand everything we've done. Item 2, applicant statement regarding the preparer. At my request, the preparer named part 15. So this is if somebody filled this out and you didn't do it on your own. We're almost done. If you stay through to this point, awesome. Okay. Applicant certification. I want to read this so that you understand what you're signing for. Copies of any document I have submitted are exact copies of unaltered original documents, and I understand that USCIS may require that I submit original documents to USCIS at a later date. Furthermore, I authorize the release of any information from any of my records that USCIS may need to determine my eligibility for the immigration benefit that I seek. I further authorize release of information contained in this application, in supporting documents, and in my USCIS records to other entities and persons when necessary for the administration and enforcement of USCIS immigration laws. I understand that USCIS will require me to appear for an appointment to take my biometrics, fingerprints, photographs, and/or signature, and at the time I will be required to sign an oath reaffirming that 1. I reviewed and provided all authorized all of the information in my application. 2. I understood all of the information contained in and submitted with my application. And 3. All of the information was complete, true, and correct at the time of filing. I certify under penalty of perjury that I provided or authorized all of the information in my application. I understand all of the information contained in and submitted with my application, and that all of my information is complete, true, and correct. Awesome. You put your signature here, applicant signature. So here you go. Of course, here. So you're gonna put the date, whichever date that we are filling this. So 8/7/22. We put that, and then if to all applicants, if you do not completely fill out this application or fail to submit required document listed in the instructions, USCIS may deny your application. Extremely important to understand that. Okay. Part 14 for interpreters contact information. So if you're using an interpreter, you fill all this information out, their mailing address and all of that good stuff. For this video, we are not, so we're going to keep pushing. All right, let's see. It says here, so we're done with the preparer who, if it was somebody else, note, do not complete parts 16 and 17 or 18 until the USCIS officer instructs you to do so at the interview. So you're not going to do anything to part 16, part 17, or part 18. This is something you would do during your interview. So remember that you're not doing anything with it. And that's it. We are done. If you have any questions like you've always done, leave it in the comment section. I am not an immigration lawyer. I did this on my own, and I'm just sharing the information as to how I went about filling my N400 form. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you have any more questions. Bye.